Have you ever noticed how different something in theory versus when it actually starts to happen? In theory versus when it actually starts to happen. There's a big gap between this sounds like a good idea and oh wow, this is real. Buying a new car sounds exciting until you see the price tag. Getting married feels romantic until you're walking down the aisle. I'm often with the groom before we enter the church, and I like to turn and say, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I don't do that. That would be mean. Moving somewhere always sounds so exciting and adventurous until you have to say goodbye to your friends. And even around here, there are tons of ideas. All the time, I hear so many ideas surrounded with excitement and drive. Great idea, I say. But then I say those magic words, "Do you want to lead this?" And everything changes. Oh, no. Maybe it's not such a great idea after all. Certainty has a way of turning into doubt. And I think that's exactly where John the Baptizer is in today's gospel. He's in a prison cell, and he asks of Jesus, "Are you the one who is to come, or should we wait for someone else?" This is John. Remember last week he was confident. He was shouting, eating bugs. The same guy who built his whole life around pointing people to Jesus. And if you'd asked him earlier, perhaps he might have said, "Oh, absolutely, no question." But now he's not in the wilderness. He's not baptizing. He's confined, he's stuck, and he's unsure. What once felt clear now feels complicated. And honestly, that feels very familiar to me. Someone said to me recently that a scary health situation must be God testing their faith. Well, I don't believe that's true, because I don't believe in a God that tests us like that. But I do believe faith can lead us into places we don't expect, places that stretch us, unsettle us, and maybe even force us to rethink what we thought we knew about God, about ourselves, and about our relationships. Faith is not static. Faith is a muscle. And muscles grow by being stretched. So John's question isn't a failure of faith. To me, it's a deepening of it. From prison, he's being asked to trust in a new way. Are you the one who is to come, or are we waiting for someone else? I think that you and I ask versions of that question all the time. Are you the one for me, or should I wait for another? Is this the right job for me, or should I wait for another? Are you the right doctor for me, or do I need to find another? Is this the right church for me, or should I look for another? Are you the right partner for me? Is this the right path for me? Or should I wait for another? These decisions are hard, and they take thinking and research, absolutely. But they also take prayer and risk and trust. And we commit knowing we don't see the full picture yet, but believing that God shows up in and through relationships that are still unfolding. And that's why Advent matters. In this season, we sing, O come, Emmanuel. Emmanuel, God with us. Not God far away, not God after we figured everything out, but God with us now, even in the middle of uncertainty. It makes me think of a pretty famous figure here in the Episcopal Church. Her name is Verna Dozier, and perhaps you've heard of her. Miss Dozier was born in 1917, and she was a leading African American female lay theologian. Let me repeat that. She was born in 1917. She would have been 12 years old when Dr. King was born. She was a leading African American female lay theologian working in Washington, D.C. She taught English in the public school systems for more than 30 years. And she dedicated her life to education. And it wasn't just about teaching English, but about teaching Jesus. And she would travel all over the country to teach people about the Bible. So I can only imagine what Miss Dozier might have experienced as a woman of color in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, teaching in the church in that period of time. I wonder if she ever asked, Lord, was this really a good idea? And as much as she helped shape what people believe, she in her whole life point to something more important. And she's known for a particular quote. She reminds us all, what do you believe is not the important question. The important question is, what difference does it make that you believe? What difference does it make that you believe? And I think that's what John is wrestling with. Not whether Jesus checks the right boxes, but whether Jesus is bringing life, healing, and freedom. And the answer is yes. The blind see, the sick are healed, lives are being opened up. Belief by itself doesn't change much. Belief lived out does. So what happens when we stop talking about following Jesus and actually take a step? It rarely looks like how we imagined it, and sometimes it makes us ask, God, is this really what you have in mind? But faith lived out is what discipleship is, even if we don't get it right. So here's the good news. Jesus doesn't shame John for asking questions. Notice that? Instead, he puts John up on a pedestal and is like, what did y'all go out thinking you were going to see? A king, silk pajamas? No, you've heard a prophet, the best one. So if you've ever wondered, was this really a good idea? You're in good company. And that question might just be a sign that God is waking you up, inviting you into something deeper, truer, and more alive. O come, thou day spring from on high, and cheer us by thy drawing nigh. Rejoice, rejoice, because once upon a time, God had a big idea. And that idea is becoming real in you, in me, in the world, and his name is Jesus.